Join the team. Yes!
Hey, this is the McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at another TMG game called Bottlecap Vikings. Now, before we do, this is going to be somewhat of a four-part series. We're also going to be taking a look at Dairyman, Balloon Pop, and Zooscape, which are three other really cool games. So we will be doing a review on those coming up here soon, but today I want to focus on Bottlecap Vikings. Now, if we look at this one here, the stats on this one is players 2 to 4. It is ages 10 plus. You can get the younger crowd in on this one, and time is 30 minutes. Now, I will take a look here at the box really quick before we get into kind of the review here, the components, as well as a high-level look at what the gameplay looks like. I will say, and one thing I like about TMG is they do have quite a few games that follow this small form factor setup, as all these do. These all have the exact same box size here, and they have quite a few games that follow this standard size box. There's another great game they make. It's called Harbor. I also had that game. It's right here. It has the same size box as these. And one thing that I'll say is the boxes are held together really well. Let's try to get that open. So once you get the box open, what you're going to find inside, outside of the components that we obviously already have on the table here, are a few different things. So one, we're going to have the rulebook here for Bottlecap Vikings, and this is just going to be kind of like a pamphlet style fold out. You'll see it does show on one side all the different symbols that you're going to use within the game, and then on the other side you'll see the main part of the rule set. Now there are some rules here on the back as well, but it's a very simple rule set, kind of pamphlet style fold out. One thing that I really like that they do include, and I've seen so far in most of the games where it makes sense to have it, is a little extra bag, right? So this one comes with a few extra bags there, so you can kind of take your chits and whatnot, put it in baggies after you're done playing, which is always really nice. And another thing this particular game had were some promos for some of their other games they have out. Here are some promo cards for Battle Cruisers. Here is a promo card for Harbor, which I really liked that this was in here because Harbor, I'm a big fan of that game. I do like that game a lot. And then Bandits promo here. There's two little chit punch-out kind of cards there that you can use for that game as well. So there were three different types of promos for three different games that they have to offer. So I thought that was really cool. I don't see that in all of their titles. So I would suggest they do continue to kind of do those types of things, because that is a really cool when you kind of open up the box and you get promos for other games. I really like that. Okay. So now let's get into what we've got in front of us here. So I'm going to go through these components really quick, and then I'm going to go over a high-level overview of what gameplay kind of looks like. So the first thing you're going to find, these little Valkyrie tokens here. All of the backs of them are silver, and they have the same symbol here on them. It's a pretty funny little symbol. You'll have to see those pictures up close, as well as the video that's over here. All of them on one side are silver, and on the other side they're either gold or they are red. I don't know if we can find a red. Oh, here we go. That was luck. We have a red side. It's the same picture. It's just colored in either red or gold. And they're all silver on the other side. And the reason is because you're going to put all of these in the box here. And that's going to be a way that you're going to get wounds assigned to you over the course of gameplay. And I do like how that particular mechanic works. Wounds is kind of this almost communal type thing where once there are 4 wounds out on the table, and that's not just for you, for any player, at that point in time, the Valkyrie will come to collect the dead. Depending on how many of these wounds you might have out on the table, there's going to be various things you'll lose, whether it's gold or glory points, or gold and glory points, or if you just have one wound, you don't lose anything. It's just taken kind of, that point is taken from you. So, various things are going to happen, and I do like that mechanic that it is sort of this, it does affect you on an individual basis, but yet it's sort of a communal type action that happens to every player, based on how many wounds are out across the whole table. So I do think that is pretty cool, and I like that aspect of how this particular mechanic works. If we move here to the Rondell, basically you're going to have your classic Rondell activity where when it's your turn, you're going to be moving around this upwards to 1 to 3 spaces clockwise. And, you may say, well, why the choice of 1 to 3? And I thought that when I started to play, but when you really start playing out, if you ever have to stop on an area with another player, like if I was to stop here, me and that other player would have to draw a random wound from the box. Again, you're going to put all your Valkyrie tokens here in a box. You'll shuffle those up. You'll be able to pull one out. There's also a little guy here with a red line, and every time you cross that red line around the wheel, always going clockwise, you're going to have to take a wound. Now over here, there's something called a helper, where you're actually going to you can take a wound off. It just happens to be where I have my building, where I'm able to upgrade my cities, and we'll get to that here in a second. So you'll notice that there's quite a few little symbols around this wheel, and each one of those symbols do something different. Why does it feel so dark? It's dark over here. That is one of the things with this game that you do have to kind of pay attention to, and it's a little bit of a learning curve when you first start off with this game, is learning what each one of the symbols are. Now, again, right here in the rulebook, it does list on the back page exactly what every one of these symbols are and what they mean. And it's pretty easy to look at this and find it quickly and see what it is. That's the only thing about this game where it might take a little bit the first time you play, because you're always going to want to have that out so it's clear you understand what each one of those symbols do. Now, once you get the hang of how these symbols work, they are fairly intuitive to start then kind of looking at them and saying, oh, okay, well, if I have, if I get more glory, then I get more wood. Now, on each one of your character boards, so we'll go look at our character boards now, everyone is going to have either glory points, they're going to have wood, or they're going to have gold. And you'll be able to track that right along the outside of your card here. So every card does have a track that goes from 0 all the way to 10, right on the side there of the card. And these cards are double-sided, so one side makes everyone's the same, and the other side is a little bit different for each one of the characters. So it is something that if you want to throw some variability in the gameplay, you can keep everything the same, or everybody can have a different kind of back to their character. So you're going to be tracking these over the course of the game, moving them up and down, and on the actual card it will indicate the amount of glory points as well as gold that are required to be able to move up sort of this, it's not really a skill tree, but I like to call it kind of a technology tree that you will move up. And there are various paths that you can take. So it isn't the same exact thing, even on the card that's the same on the front for each one of them. And I like that variability as well as you play. Now you will have to kind of remember as you move up this track, because obviously this little house token will set right on the picture. So you'll kind of have to remember where you are. And if you forget, you can always just kind of slide it to the side and look, oh, okay, that's the, the ability that I have right now. And all of these are permanent. So as you actually acquire them, it is something that's going to stay with you permanently over the course of games. So once you get, let's say, all the way, not all the way to the top, but let's say right below the top layer, and you might have taken this outside track, each one of these things would be something that you would permanently still have, even though your token was up here at the top. It just indicates kind of where you currently are. Now, to win the game, you either get your token, your little house, all the way to the top of the throne here by paying the various things that you need to pay as you go up through this technology hierarchy here, or your glory token gets all the way to 10. So there is two different ways that you can actually execute on the win of the game. And I like that as well. It's not just one way to do it. There's two different ways. So maybe you're not spending a lot moving up this technology tree, but you are able to deploy a strategy that allows you to get those 10 glory points, and you can get the win that way. And it is a win that is immediate. So as soon as you get that win, the game is immediately over. It isn't like others around the table get to take a final turn. Game over soon as you get one of those two criterias. Now there are some rules and setup depending on if you're the first player or the fourth player, what you will actually start off with. So, the first player is going to start off with kind of one of everything, and the second player is going to get a little bit more, third player is going to get a little bit more, and that's nice as well. All the way up into if you're the fourth player, you actually can choose one of your first upgrades here in your technology tree. So, that's cool as well, that it gives you kind of that different feel depending on what player you are around the table. You do get a little bit of a different starting setup. And again, if you flip that card over, now you've even added something more to it outside of the difference of what you would start with per player. So if we look at kind of a review or an overview of everything that we have here, got your Rondell, you're going to be moving around that Rondell in a clockwise fashion. Every time you pass a certain point, which is kind of the 4 o'clock is basically what it is. Every time you pass that, you're going to take a wound. Every time you land in the same spot as another player, you're going to take a wound. You can even take wounds and lose wounds based on different spots around this Rondell that you land on, and there could be some benefit in that. Let's say that you don't have hardly any wounds. Let's say you have 1, but there are other people that have multiple wounds, and 4, 4 of those reds come out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say this is what happened right here, and now 4 of them are out. Well, now the Valkyries are going to come, and based on how many wounds you have, something bad is going to happen to that player, and you're generally going to lose. You're going to lose gold, you're going to lose wood, you're going to lose glory points. You definitely want to do that to other players, as, again, the race to win here is getting to the very top of your tech tree or getting your glory points all the way to the top throne here on 10. So I do like how there's 2 different aspects to win the game. I do like the mechanic of how this Valkyrie wound works. That, for me, does make the game fun, and it does offer this bit of, it's kind of funny to see when someone draws in. It's like, oh, is that going to be the 4th wound? Is that going to be the 4th one that's red? Now the Valkyries are going to come, and who's that going to happen to, and who has the most amount of wounds? Is that me, or is that another player? So I really do like that social aspect of this game. Artwork is cool. It's fun. It's definitely a style that I enjoy. It's bright colors. It's kind of got that cartoony kind of top-down isometric kind of view to the bottle cap here, as well as the artwork that's on each one of the player cards. So I like that as well. That's Bottlecap Vikings. I would recommend this if this is the type of game that you do enjoy. I do have fun with this game. I don't know if this is a game that I would play all the time, but this is a fun game. It's definitely a fun filler, and you got to have these types of games in your collection, right? And a lot of these games, we're going to take a look at each one of these in other videos, are going to be things that I would consider filler type games. Games that you would put in between longer, more campaign-based games. You might have your friends over for a game night, and you need something between games, or you need something until everybody gets there to do quickly. These are the types of games that you're going to want to get out and play through, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun with them. So hit that like, click the subscribe below to join the team. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.